Hey there. So you want to change careers, but something keeps stopping you. Maybe you're afraid of losing everything, all the experience you worked so hard for. Maybe you don't know where to start and you don't feel like you have enough experience. Maybe everyone around you thinks you're crazy for even considering a career change because your career is so amazing and why would you want to leave? Maybe you've been in the same field for years and you know it's just no longer where you're supposed to be or where you want to be. Maybe you're just starting out and already realizing you picked the wrong path. I have been there. Maybe you just feel stuck. Something needs to change, but you don't know how to really make a career shift without blowing up your whole life and you have responsibilities and things to take care of. And how do I do this, right? Well, if you found yourself in any one of those scenarios, this is the video for you because here is what nobody tells you about changing careers. You do not have to start from zero. You do not have to throw everything you have learned away. And you do not have to have it all figured out before you make your next move. All right, so in this video, I'm going to break down 5 practical steps to make a career change the smart way, whether you're 10 years in or just getting started. And I'm going to share the most powerful mental model I have ever heard around reaching your goals. And it comes from Navy SEAL training. A friend who was training for the Navy SEALs taught me, and I'm going to tell it to you because it's going to change how you think about getting where you want to go in your career. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm a decision strategist and author of Rest is the New Hustle. And also I'm a certified resume writer. I've also been a career coach. I've literally helped dozens of people before I ever started this professional journey completely shift careers, get into new industries, and thrive. I've given people jobs, I've given away jobs, I've helped people transform their careers, and they're doing well today. So not only have I been certified in this stuff, but I also have personal experience with it. And my career has changed. Right now, as part of my day job, I work in tech, but I didn't start out in tech. I didn't start out anywhere near where I am today. I started out at Papa John's Pizza. I was a shift manager at age 18 at Papa John's Pizza, flipping those pizzas. In college, I worked a bunch of odd jobs. I've done a lot of jobs. I've done jobs that I walked out on because they were so terrible. I've done amazing jobs with celebrities. I have reinvented myself several times. So everything I'm telling you is from a place of hard-won experience for myself and also other people. And I have a whole video where I go into my entire story. So if you want to learn more about my story, check that out. But this video is about you. This video, we're gonna get right to the meat of how you can change your life. So in my case, I changed careers for myself and increased my income by over $100,000 in just 3 years. And not because I got lucky, but because I had a strategy. And so on this channel, I help you see clearly and decide wisely and think higher about the decisions that shape your life. And career is a huge one because if you think about how much time you spend working in your life, it's a lot. So if that sounds like something you need, hit subscribe and let's just go ahead and get into it. So here's why most people think changing careers means starting over, right? And once you see this, you'll understand why the fear feels so real, but why it's wrong. Most people think about their career like a ladder. There's even that phrase, the career ladder, right? So they pick a direction and they feel like they're supposed to climb this quote unquote ladder, right? And your value should be based on how high you've gone up the ladder. So when you think about like switching to a completely different ladder or starting over or starting brand new, your brain says, no, 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 no. If you do that, you'll have to go back to the bottom. But here is the thing. Your career is not a ladder. It's more like a toolbox, especially these days, right? The whole idea of working with one company and retiring with that company and getting a pension and all that stuff, those days are pretty much over. Companies aren't loyal. We see the hirings and the firings every single day, right? So you have to think of yourself like a free agent almost. Like if you think about athletes and how they get drafted to different teams. You almost have to think about yourself that way. You're going to use every job you've had, every role, every experience, even the ones you hated, and put those things in your box, your toolkit, your skills, your knowledge, your instincts, your way of thinking, your way of solving problems, maybe your creativity. Maybe you've got the gift of gab and you've got amazing people skills. Those are all tools. And those tools don't disappear when you change direction or move to a new job. You take those tools with you everywhere you go, right? And not all of them will transfer directly to a particular position, but way more of them transfer than what you think. So let's get into the steps of how to do this, right? So step one is you're going to identify what we call your transferable skills. Before you do anything else, you're going to literally pull out a sheet of paper, right? Make a list of every single skill you have. And I do not mean just your job skills. I mean your life skills too. Are you a good communicator? Do you solve problems? Do you organize things? Are you good with people? Can you manage a budget? Even if that budget is just your household, can you lead a group, right? Even if that group is your family, do you know how to calm someone down in a crisis? Do you know how to teach something to someone that they didn't understand before? Those are all real skills and they all transfer to different jobs. So let me give you some examples. And if you're like, man, Jennifer, I don't know what skills I have, you can use AI. Thankfully today, you can pull up ChatGPT or Claude or any of these other ones and say, hey, I want you to act like the world's best career strategist. And I'm going to tell you about all the skills and all the things I've done in all my jobs. I'm going to tell you about my life. I'm going to tell you about the things I do in my life. I'm going to tell you about the things that people come to me to get advice for. And I want you to identify the skills I have on my job, the skills I have outside my job that I didn't even know I have, and help me just create a master list of all my skills. If you do that, you're going to be surprised. You have a lot more skills than you think you do. So let me give you some examples so you can see how this works. So say you are a teacher and you've been a teacher for a while and you want to move into corporate training, right? You think you're starting over, right? But look at what you already know how to do. You can break down complicated ideas so regular people or little kids can understand them. You can read a room. You can manage different personalities and groups. You can build a lesson plan from scratch. You can present in front of a group without falling apart, right? These are all amazing skills that go just beyond teaching, right? But teaching itself is communication and leadership and program design. Every company in the world needs people who can do that. Say you've been in retail and you want to move into sales or account management or something that's a bit more stable. You already know how to talk to customers. You know how to handle complaints. You know how to upsell. You know how to hit targets. And you know how to work under pressure on your feet all day, right? So that's not just retail. That is customer relationship management. That is conflict resolution. That is revenue generation, right? Say you've been a stay-at-home parent and you want to re-enter the workforce. You've been managing schedules. You've been handling budgets and logistics and conflicts and personalities for years. You have been project managing your entire household, right? And those skills are real and they are valuable. So do not describe your skills in the language of where you've been. Describe them in the language of where you are going. So let's say you're a nurse who wants to move from healthcare to health tech, right? You're not going to say, oh, I just took care of patients. You're going to say, I managed high pressure situations with competing priorities under tight time constraints, right? Same experience, just different words, right? Completely different impression. All right, you are not starting over. You are translating what you've already done into a new language that whatever industry or career or role you're targeting can actually hear and understand and appreciate. So that's step one. You're going to identify those transferable skills. And I gave you a prompt you could use to do that. Now, step two is you're going to plan your transition while you still have a job. I need to say this clearly because it's one of the biggest mistakes people make. I have seen so many people close to me make this mistake. Do not quit your job and then figure it out. Figure it out and then quit your job. right? So the best time to look for a new job or a new career is when you are already in one currently, right? When you have income coming in, you have options, you can be a little picky, you can be a little choosy, you can take your time, you can interview whatever organization you're thinking about joining, just like they can interview you. You can say no to things that aren't right, right? So you can take your time, and that keeps you from hopping, out of the frying pan and into the fire or into a worse situation, right? But the moment you quit without a plan, the clock starts ticking. And I've seen friends go through this where they quit and they don't have a plan and they're unemployed for a year or two, and it's awful, right? Or they become desperate and they end up taking things they should not take or doing things they should not do, just to try to pay the bills. And so we want you to start researching while you're still employed. You're going to network while you're still employed. And I know that might be tough, especially if you have a demanding job, but it's what you have to do, right? Start getting certifications or additional education for your next career or your next job while you're still employed. And some jobs offer free education or free training to their employees. So what you're going to do is, as you're thinking through, like, what jobs do I want? What careers do I want? You can start to shift and use those tools and use that for yourself. And if you don't, Udemy and other places, they always do great deals all the time in terms of trainings available. So just keep an eye out on sites like that. But to decide what training you want, right, what you're going to do is look at the marketplace. So for example, for myself, for a previous job I was in, I knew I wasn't going to stay there long, but they wanted to keep me there and they wanted to promote me. And I was concerned that the company was not forward thinking enough, so we were going to get left behind. And basically what I started to do is I looked at my current role that I had, but at other companies. And I looked at my current role and I said, what are the skills that other people who are hiring for what I'm doing right now want? And do I have all those skills? Because sometimes when we've been doing something for a long time, we can get really comfortable, right? We can get really comfortable and not continue to grow ourselves. So when I started to look at the skills that other people wanted at these other jobs, I realized, man, I haven't done this. I'm falling behind. Let me go ahead and start to study that stuff so that when I move, or when I start to apply, or when a recruiter reaches out, I am a competitive candidate, right? So that's the mindset you want to have. You want to be looking at, if you like your role, just not your org, you're going to be looking at, what is this role requiring today? What are employees who are hiring this, or employers who are hiring for this role? What are they looking for, right? How can I position myself to be even better tomorrow and stand out against 200 other people, right? Or if you're looking to completely switch, start to do that research now, and maybe there's some ways you can bridge the education you need with where you are currently. So your current job is not a prison, right? It's a launch pad. Use it that way. So step 3, be clear in your target, but flexible in how you get there when it comes to your career goals, right? I want to share something with you that changed how I think about career transitions and just transitions in life, period. So I learned this from a guy who was a Navy SEAL in training, and he was telling me about a little bit about his training, what he could share. And what he said is, in the training that they do, they're required to adopt a certain mindset. And he said it's called be like water. Be like water. So think about what water does. Water has one goal: get to the other side. If it's in a container, it will fill it up. If it's trying to go somewhere, that water is going to go where it wants to go. And it always finds a way, right? Sometimes water carves straight through rock, right? And that's how you get the beautiful Grand Canyon. Pure persistence, just straight through, straight through the obstacle over time, right? Sometimes water cannot go through the rock, so it goes underground. That's how you have underground rivers and streams and aquifers, right? And then it comes out on the other side. On the surface, you may not see water moving, but it's moving. It's just moving underground, right? And this is the part that I really love too. If water cannot go through and water cannot go under, water can even evaporate, right? And go up into the clouds, right? And blow over the particular obstacle and rain down on the other side. But it always gets to where it wants to go, right? And so it doesn't always take the same path, but it gets to where it wants to go. And so think about your careers and your goals in the same way. Be absolutely clear on where you want to end up, where you want to go, and what you want to do. But be flexible on how you get there. Maybe the direct path works. You apply, you get hired, you walk in the front door, great. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe you need to go underground for a while. Maybe you need to take a sideways lateral role, or maybe you need to volunteer or attend a networking mixer or freelance or build a portfolio on the side that you can use and find some other way to gain experience, right? Maybe you entered through a door nobody else is looking at. And maybe you need to rise above the whole thing like that cloud. Maybe you go get that certification. Maybe you build that new network. Maybe you position yourself so high that when the opportunity comes, you rain down right on into it, right? The path does not matter. The destination does. So be like water. Be resolute, but be flexible at the same time. Okay. Step 4, I want you and I need you, please, to tap into the hidden job market. This is something most people don't realize, right? A lot of people believe the majority of jobs are on job sites like Indeed and LinkedIn and others, right? But the majority of jobs are never, ever posted online. They're filled through referrals, internal moves, and networking before they ever hit a job board, right? So 70 to 80% of jobs are filled this way. So imagine 70% of the jobs are not even on the job site. So if you only stick to the job sites, you're competing with everybody else for such a small piece of the pie, right? Whereas for the majority of jobs, somebody knows somebody, right? And so this is what you want to do. You want to tap into that hidden job market. Now, I'll give you a story about this one. You know, when I graduated, I applied everywhere. And I was getting all these automatic rejections. And I didn't know better. I didn't know some of the stuff I'm telling you in this video. So I thought, you know, people were just instantly rejecting me. But it wasn't the case. It was the systems. And, you know, I was going with a friend and I've been dealing about the ATS and all these other things. And I talk about a lot of this stuff in the other videos in this series. So if you're hearing ATS and you're like, what is that? Please check out my other videos. It's going to help your job search a ton. But I graduated from a top 10, university. I worked hard. I had all these internships and all these experiences. And I mean, I know the economy sucked, but I was trying my best and applying and nothing. Absolute crickets. And so my friend and I were desperate. We're looking for jobs. And so we went to a Whole Foods and we were sitting in Whole Foods with our laptops and our papers, applying for our lives, just applying our lives away. And I remember there was this nice Asian lady that sat right beside me, nice little tiny Asian lady. And she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm trying to apply for jobs. And she was asking me more about my degree and what I learned and what I do. And then basically at the end of the conversation, she was like, well, do you want to work for me? And I was like, you have a job? And she did. She actually was hiring. And so I ended up working for her as an assistant grant writer. And that kind of started my whole journey of my actual career, right? But think about that. Like I started off working at Papa John's Pizza as a shift leader. And then I went to college and then I did a whole bunch of odd jobs in college. And then I graduated and I couldn't find a job. And my first job, my first entry into a whole new world of careers, which opened up the door to what I do today, started with a conversation with a complete stranger. And so this is what I'm telling you, like so many of the jobs, so many of them, 70 to 80% of them never make the job boards. So to give yourself the best chance possible, you have to tap into that hidden job market. And how do you do that, right? Like, what are the practical ways? I want to give you 2 ways to do that. All right. So the first is I want you to talk to your network. There is this whole concept of something called loose ties, right? So you have to make use of those loose social ties. What are the loose social ties? Your church, your community, friends of friends, the people you grew up and went to elementary school with, the people who you meet every day, the person you talk to at the post office, because studies show and economics shows that the more higher level social ties a person has, the more opportunities they get, right? And so what happens with a lot of these jobs is a friend of a friend, or that second or third connection on LinkedIn, or that person who you met back when about 3 years ago ends up being the key to your next role, right? And so you have to let them know. People love to be helpful. So this isn't about appearing desperate, right? You're not going to appear desperate. You're going to be clear, you're going to be confident, and you're going to say, "Hey, Sally Sue, I'm looking to transition into project management in the healthcare tech space. I know you're super connected and you've done all these great things. So if you know anyone in that world at all, health or tech, I would love a quick introduction." That's it. Simple. You're not asking for a job. You're not asking the person you're talking to for your job. You're asking them for a connection, an introduction, not even a recommendation, just an introduction, right? So that is the key. You're not pitching for a job, but you're letting your network know, and their spotty senses know, right, that you are open. And that's a different energy. Nobody feels pressured. Nobody feels awkward. And here's why it works so well. Again, because the average person is connected to about 2,000 people, right? So I see it on my LinkedIn profile all the time. Somebody I went to school with 3 years ago would be like, "Oh, we're hiring for this." And it's just like, "Oh," right? And so you don't need to know everyone. You just need to be able to tell the right people what you're looking for and let their network do the work. And the second strategy you can do with this, let's just say you're like, "Man, I don't even have a network or loose ties or I don't know anybody," right? Maybe you're in that boat. Not to worry, because your second weapon is informational interviews. And this is one of the most underused strategies in career transitions. And honestly, it's an absolute cheat code. So here's how you do this. You want to go use LinkedIn. And if you're not on LinkedIn, please get on LinkedIn. It is one of the most amazing networking opportunities. Recruiters are on there all the time. If you're not on LinkedIn, I don't care what it is you're doing. Get on LinkedIn, okay? Period. Get on LinkedIn. Ask AI to optimize your LinkedIn profile, but please do that. You can use LinkedIn to research people who have the kind of jobs you want, or you can, if it's a local place near you, you can go by and find the person who has the job you want, or you can Google or go to company websites. But the goal is to find at least 5 to 10 people who have the job you want. And the reason why you're doing that is because success leaves clues, right? And so you're trying to get those clues, right? And what you're going to do when you approach these people is you're not asking them for a job. You're asking them for advice. You're saying something like, "Hey, I'm making a career transition and I really admire your career path. You've done some amazing things. Would you be willing to give me 15 to 30 minutes of your time? I would just love to hear how you got to where you are, and any advice you could offer would be invaluable for someone like me who's growing in this journey." People love to feel important. And so you're kind of coming to them like, Oprah. It's like, "Oh, wow, somebody wants to interview me." Like, it feels good, right? So you're not a threat to them. You're a compliment. But here's what happens. You walk away with insider industry knowledge about the job market, about the type of job you're trying to get. And you're on their radar in a way that you would never have been just applying blindly, right? Like, this is going to be information that you can't just easily find on Google or ChatGPT or any other tool, right? And you're coming across as somebody who's super thoughtful and serious. You might learn about opportunities that aren't posted anywhere. They may say, "Oh yeah, my boss is actually hiring," or "This team is hiring," or "I heard that company is hiring," right? Or when a role opens up on their team or in their network, guess whose name comes to mind? Yours, because you already showed up. You already made the connection. You did not wait for a job posting where you were competing with 300 to 400 other people. You built the relationship first. And step 5, I want you to use certifications strategically, not randomly. A lot of people go get a certification and hope it opens up doors, right? So they see, on YouTube, ABC University, or they see this online program that sounds good, and they pick this certification and they spend all this time and they spend all this money on what's popular or what's on sale, or instead of basing their training off of what the market is actually looking for. And then they wonder why it didn't help. And so here's how to do it the smart way. All right. So I want you to go find at least 5 to 10 job postings you want, actual listings. These can be and stretch yourself. You can have some stretch jobs. You can have some jobs in the middle. You can have some jobs that you feel like you're pretty much a shoe-in for, right? And you want to look at those listings, 10 to 15 of them. And you're going to look at what they say under required or preferred qualifications, right? What certifications or what qualifications keep showing up? What tools keep showing up around what they want you to have understanding with? What platforms, right? That is your list. Always go to the market and reverse engineer, because any university can tell you something. Any person selling a program can tell you something, but you want what's relevant for the job market now. So let the market tell you what it values, okay? And second, and this is a move people do not think of, again, go to LinkedIn, go to people who currently have the job you want. Look at the certifications areas of their profiles. What certifications do they have? If you notice a pattern, right, you want to be part of that pattern because you want to be easy to hire. So find out, what do those people have in common, right? And reverse engineer that. And that helps guide your education, not just some random ad that you saw on a bus driving down the street somewhere, right? And so depending on your certification, a lot of these are low cost or even free. The way I broke into tech was through a free Google Analytics certification, right? I was just like, okay, I'm looking at all the jobs. I've never worked in tech before. I see this one on all of the ones I'm trying to do that I think I could get. Okay, I'm going to go into that one, right? So platforms like Coursera or Udemy or LinkedIn Learning, they offer industry recognized certifications for a fraction of what a degree costs. And so in most fields, the right certification will get you further than a brand new degree, because sometimes, especially in our fast moving world, the new degree and the curriculum for the new degree was created 3 to 5 years ago, and employers want up to date current skills applied to now. So there are only a few types of jobs like doctors, lawyers, certain engineering roles that actually require a brand new degree. But for everything else, certifications, demonstrated skills and experience, even volunteer experience or internships are what gets you through the door, right? So do not collect certifications, target them, right? Let the job market tell you what to get and then go get that. So let's pull this all together, because I just gave you a lot and I want you to walk away with a clear picture of what to do next. Step 1, I want you to identify your transferable skills, all right? Not just from your job, but from your life. Write them, describe them in the language of where you're trying to go, not where you've been. You're not starting over, you're redirecting, okay? Step 2, I want you to plan your next job while you have your current job. Use your current job as stability and as a launching pad for your next. Do not jump without a parachute. Do not put off your new job search every other day thinking, okay, I'll make it just one more day, because what happens is you put off your new job search, your current job gets okay for a while, and then one day it gets to the place where you absolutely hate it and you can't take it anymore and you just leave. And it's just like you could have been using that entire time to prepare for your next job. All right, so step 3, I want you to be like water. Be clear about where you're going, but flexible about how you get there. The direct path, if the direct path doesn't work, go around, go under, go over, right? But keep going toward the goal. Step 4, tap into the hidden job market. Tell people what you are looking for. Don't pitch to them, but ask if they know someone. People love to feel important and recommend and useful and like they're recommending things, right? So tap into that part of human nature, and also do informational interviews. Build relationships before you need them. Most jobs, again, 70 to 80% never get posted anywhere online. Every person you talk to is connected to around 2,000 people. So remember that and use that. And then step 5, use certification strategically. Do not guess what to get. Look at the job postings, look at the LinkedIn profiles, let the market tell you exactly what it wants, and then go get that. Or even asking your informational interviews, like, hey, if you were doing it all over again, what certifications would you get and what ones would you not worry about, right? So those are the tips for you. So I want to leave you with this. The fear of starting over is so real. And if you feel like you've never gotten on the path, the fear of just trying to figure out how to get on the path is so real. I felt it, and I've talked to literally dozens of people who have felt it. but it's based on a lie. The lie is that everything you've built, everything you've done so far only counts if you stay in the same lane. But your skills are not trapped by your current job title. Your experience is not locked inside of one industry. You are more valuable than any one job or any one field. You have options. And if you don't believe that, please go watch my video. You have options on this channel. You have options. You just need a strategy for carrying it forward. So if you are thinking about making a career move and you want structured help figuring out your next step, which transfer skills you should highlight, what direction to go, or how to plan, I do a limited number of From Confusion to Clarity decision strategy sessions each week. So we talk about a lot of things, but in particular, especially complex career transitions, done a ton of those. Like I said in the beginning, I'd love to help people transition because it's just such a big deal to get a job you're proud of that can change your life, right? So we'll map out your situation, clarify your direction, and build your clear path forward. If you're interested in that, the link is in the description below. And also, if you are actively applying for jobs and not hearing back, I have 2 other videos I need you to watch, right? One breaks down why your applications are going into the black hole, and the other breaks down the top resume mistakes that people make that kill their applications. And I just want to remind you again, you're not starting over, you're starting smarter. And that is a completely different thing. So till next time, I want you to think higher about your possibilities, think higher about yourself and your career, because that is where your better life is waiting. Till next time.